Hello and welcome. Is end of the road still possible without upgrades? Well, I deleted the game. Then I had to do Formula One Academy all again. Didn't realize that would be a thing. Okay, so I finished all that. Then I get this screen, which says I've got to have driver level 4 before I can even start. So I had to go do more racing, and here we are. People will want to know, how can I have 504 gold with a new profile? Well, it still marked me as accomplishing all these achievements, so I just collected it all. So that's good in case I need gold. Let's get to the event. Usually I would download all assets when I reinstall the game, but I didn't do that this time, so we'll just see how that goes. I wanted to get going as fast as possible, so that's what I decided to do. Now, the rules are the same, which is only finish as far as you have to. If they don't tell you where you have to finish in last place. Like, just really lose the race. And this is all about bot management, so it's trying to keep the bots slower. Because if you're not familiar with this, the more you win, the harder the bots are going to get. Even if you finish in third place, the bots are still going to get a little bit more difficult than they were if you hadn't done that. And this is done so that the game stays challenging. So that as you win, it gets harder and harder. So we can actually manipulate that a little bit by not winning, and sometimes even by losing. Like if you are at or below recommended PR, you can make the game easier and easier. Now I've noticed they've changed this, and we're going to get to that in a bit here. They changed the starting PR for this event. It was lower, so we're going to have to see if that's had an effect. That's the main reason why I'm doing this again. I had some reports from people saying it's not possible. Some people were a little less than happy with me. I don't know why, because I didn't do anything wrong, but sometimes people do that on YouTube. They take out their frustration on a YouTuber, and I get accused of all sorts of things, which isn't very nice. But most of you know me, and you know that I do everything legit, and so I don't really worry about that too much. But I also don't want to blast people. I'd rather have them, you know, try to, oh my, oopsie, okay. We're going to go 4 times regular speed here as I just let people pass me. I don't want to just blast someone who's angry, because maybe they just don't know. And sometimes I've had people that got very nice after I spoke to them nicely. Anyhow, because of the PR change to stage 1 and 2, I thought, you know, I'll do this. This is not something I'm going to regularly do, because it was a lot of hassle just to do all that work so I could run this event, and all of this is a waste, right? I'm going to download my profile again. All of this was a waste, but hey, you know, I do things for you guys sometimes, so there you go. All right. Obviously, race 1 was a joke. Probably all of stage 1 is a joke, but let's zoom in on something here, and that is the PR difference, 96.7. In the original version of this event, starting PR was 96.0 all the way up until race 2.3, so stage 2, race 3. So that's interesting. That gave us more bot slowing opportunities because, well, we were at recommended PR. So here I'm going to pull over into the bus stop. That's what this is called, this type of a shape. We're going to go 16 times regular speed as I let everyone pass me, and I actually let everyone lap me. And now I'm going to go. Because, and you might notice that I'm using a different viewpoint. That's because it's easier for me to, it's easier for me to go off track. Okay, no. You got to finish each lap in 50 seconds. It's easier for me to keep my eyes on the clock this way. This is difficult for me because I don't usually use this view. I am starting to experiment with different views sometimes. There are advantages, like my lap time is always in the exact same spot. When I use chase view like I usually do, the lap time is connected to the car, so it's moving back and forth. Big jump, check it out. In case you didn't know that, that's a jump spot. It's fun. Now, I'm not going to do that every single time because I actually want to, let this guy pass me again. I actually just want to finish each lap kind of 48 to 50 seconds. I forget how this one worked, but I'm trying to just really not finish with anything more than I have to. Oh my, that was pushing it too much. Because I already failed this and had to do it again. I'm kind of just seeing what it's like. So sometimes when you do a stage like this, a race like this, it just logs your lap time and says that's what you finished with. Other times it will log your overall race time. I don't know what it's going to do. So I'm just going to take it easy. And why is Magnus? Isn't this Magnus? Why isn't his name there? Huh. I guess he got overtaken. Okay, that's kind of strange. Well, we'll see if he gets me in trouble or not, because I might be low on time here. I might have to blast by him. Nah, I'll be okay. 740. Oh, that was fine. Oops, now I'm getting tangled up with him a little bit. I shouldn't do that too much on this stage, because he's just going to slow down. But it's really tempting not to. It's hard not to mess up Magnus. It's kind of like my favorite thing to do. But if I do that too much, then he's just going to slow down a lot. Oh well, we'll see what this is like. Not a big deal. I mean, I'm a whole lap behind. If I have to overtake him, oh well, doesn't mean much at all. But I didn't want to finish any faster than I had to. This is bot management. You want to finish with the minimum all the time. And that is to pay off in stage 4 or 5. So if you take day 1 and 2 too intensely, or stage 1 and stage 2, and you drive like crazy all the time, usually that means stage 5 is going to be very difficult. You know what? I'll do another test when this is all done. I still have to... Oh my goodness, that was hilarious. Okay. All right, now let's get on to this next one. So when I'm done doing this, I'll be restoring my profile, and all of this will be lost. I will do it again in a fully upgraded car. Now, I used to actually produce those videos. People don't really watch them because it's really easy. Oh my, that was fairly violent, wasn't it? People don't watch them, and it's hours of work to make a video like this. Like, it's at least, I mean, it's about an hour of racing, a little bit more, hour and a half. And it takes me just as long to do all the editing, sometimes more, especially with just with the way I do things. It's a lot of work. So if people aren't going to watch the videos, it's really not worth it. However, here's my main point. I will run the event crazy aggressive in my fully upgraded car. I will try to win every single race by massive margins. And then I'm going to take note of stage 5, and I'll do some comparisons and see, did it really change the bot difficulty? Because if it doesn't, there's no use doing all this. However, I just can't imagine that it doesn't. Like, some people tell me that. It doesn't make any sense, because the core algorithm of this game is that it either gets harder or easier. So if someone's downloaded the game and they're having a horrible time, EA wants you to keep playing. So they're going to make it easier each time you lose, because they're trying to encourage you to keep on playing. Inversely, if you keep winning and it gets boring, like it gets boring for me, they want it to get harder and harder. So it's a core algorithm. So I've only had a few people tell me it doesn't work. Most people, including fellow YouTubers like Speedmaster, and when Speed Junkie used to be doing videos, and lots of other people, they all do this. And so I have a hard time believing that all of us are crazy, but maybe we are. Anyhow, that's what I'll do. And then we'll just see what it's like. But that could be a couple of days out. Anyhow, I like using this view sometimes, just like I said again, it helps me to keep track of everything. And I'm getting really violent with Magnus here. It's just kind of fun. Oh, and he's in a Koenigsegg again. In fact, I think it's the same Koenigsegg. Meaning a, is that a 1-to-1? Or is he in an Agera? Anyhow, I have an infamous video where I killed Magnus. It's just kind of what happened. We were at Circuit de Catalunya, and he got stuck in a wall. And then he got out of that wall, and he got stuck in another wall, and he never got out. And it's hilarious. It was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. And I'll put a video up for that right here if you haven't seen it before. It's pretty funny. So you can check that out. Oh, big crash at the finish! That's awesome. Well, we should just have one more race for stage 1. So far, it's all been, you know, really, really easy. There's none of this off-track stuff, really nothing like that. Oh, I've got a crew member. Yay for me. Okay, it's been so long. I started this game back in 2015, like February, I think. Yeah, I think so. So it's been a long time since I saw some of this stuff. I can't do much with Magnus. I can't really, all I can really do is try to slow this race down. I'm forced to win. So first thing I can do is make the race take longer. Second thing I can do is make sure that I win by a very small amount. Those two things should help with some of the keeping bots reasonable going forward. Now, I could sit there and pin him for like 10 minutes, but I don't want to do that. That's just a waste of my time. It's a waste of your time. Where is he? Gosh, he's slow. There he is. Okay. So we'll just, we'll nicely go through the rest of this race. So here you can see I'm driving chase view, and you can see what I mean by my lap time. I can't see it right now, so it keeps disappearing. Same with the speed, disappearing. So that's why sometimes it's beneficial to use other views. Now I don't want to do this again, so I don't want Magnus to pass me. So I'm going to be careful here, but yeah, we're finishing pretty tight. There we go. And we'll get to the reward screens. Obviously no upgrades. And there are the rewards for stage 1. Let's get on to stage 2. So here we are at Monza and downloading the assets. And race 1 said 20 seconds of drifting. One thing about I noticed at this event, pretty much every single stage, if I recall correctly, you do have to finish it even after you meet the requirements. So that can take a while. Like this one, 20 seconds of drifting. What does that mean? Well, they really just mean skidding. Like, look, see? I'm just skidding. I'm not really drifting. Like, drifting, quote-unquote drifting, would be you head into a corner like this, and you drift it like that, but a lot better. That's drifting. They don't mean drifting. They just mean skidding. So you can just wag back and forth and skid. Now, I still want to finish in last place. And I'm kind of getting bored already because I'm looking at this, and I thought, you know what? Let's just take out some rear windows. Let's just smash some people out with this Bolide. I'll bully some of these guys. Ooh, that guy he kind of hopped out of the wall funny. And then, of course, the downside is the more you rough people up, the slower they get. So I thought, well, maybe I can push these guys a little bit. Sometimes that can make things a little bit more interesting, but not necessarily. You know what? We're not even gonna do 2 full laps. Like, there is no challenge to this. So we're gonna warp ahead here in a bit. Where is everybody? Come on, man, where'd you go? I'm gonna give you a push. You're so slow. And of course it is. He's one of those slippery Ferraris, so they can be slow. But I'm gonna kind of, this is a pretty long pit maneuver, isn't it? Oh my! And then I'm pitting myself. What a pity party. And like I said, we're gonna warp ahead here at a point. I do not want to make you watch. This is just kind of boring. So it doesn't matter if you're on track, off track. It doesn't really matter. Slide around, get your time in. All right, so we just warped ahead a whole lap. And I'm just coming to the finale here. I've still got 0.7 seconds of skidding to get in. I wasn't quite sure what it was at this point. I couldn't quite remember. So I thought, if it does fill the clock as soon as I do it, I want to be close to the end of lap 2. I don't want it to register me as finishing a lap in like in like 1 second. 1 second. 1 minute, I should say. Which you can actually finish laps in a minute in this car. It's ridiculous. Alright, so 17th place. Well, that's great! Of course, I'm earning less currency, but the main point is we want this car as cheap as possible, right? Now, I think this is the last race at PR 96.7. I think after this it starts to go up. Well, no, in the original series, in the original End of the Road, it was after this race that it went to 96.7. We're already at 96.7. So we'll see. Maybe they make it even higher for the next race. I don't know. We'll just see what happens. And here I thought I'd better start trying to learn where my braking points are. Obviously I'm substantially early. I thought I'd block this guy a little bit. Why am I blocking him anyway? Oh yes, I wanted to stack them up a little bit. Because this is set the fastest lap. So it's interesting. Set the fastest lap, there's a couple of ways you can do this. 1, go set the fastest lap. 2, slow everyone else down and just be a little bit quicker than they are. So I'm doing a little bit of both. And this first lap is going to be dreadfully slow. Maybe this is a bad idea. Well, right, because I started this lap slow. Well, okay, so the next lap, I better make sure I'm driving the next lap at a reasonable rate. Just make sure, you do have to kind of stay in the lead. Like, one thing I've done in the past with this type of a race, which doesn't work, but I'll just tell you it, I would do 1 lap really fast, and then my last lap, I would try to come in last place. It doesn't matter. It registers you as first place because you had the fastest lap. So it really doesn't matter. So here I am letting them catch up a little bit, but because he's way back there. I don't know what he's doing. And I'm just not really sure what to do. I mean, I don't want to lose. That's the main thing, is I don't want to lose and waste my time and everyone else's time. as you might have noticed, if I lose an entire race, I don't waste your time with it. So when I'm doing experiments, I'm not making you watch all my experiments. That would be horrible. Okay, so there's where I finished. Let's see here, when someone else finishes, so it'll show their time. It'll show how much I'm ahead of them. Well, I was 8 seconds ahead. But that doesn't really help us much, because this is going to be a faster lap, isn't it? Yeah, okay. So don't bother doing that, per se. Now, and again, like I said, I don't remember my braking points for this car, because I've been driving it fully upgraded. Braking points, well, they can change quite a lot as you buy upgrades. Like, not too much, because as you're buying upgrades, like, everything's improving. So you start, maybe your brakes get better, but then your speed gets higher. So it's kind of funny how that can kind of equalize with these cars. But definitely, there's quite a lot of cars that as you add those upgrades, the handling changes quite a lot, which can be a challenge when you are trying to work your way through an event like this, where you add some upgrades and it's like, oh, now I've got to relearn where the limits are. So sometimes it's to your benefit to just add all level 1 upgrades right away, which is about 800,000 for this car, which is cheap for the fastest car in Real Racing 3, which this is. This is a ridiculous car. Unlike a lot of Bugattis, like a lot of Bugattis are really fast, but then they just feel like a tank. They feel heavy. Even though they have high grip, the brakes aren't very good. And this one actually, the brakes are actually okay on this car. It's just that you're going so fast. It makes the brakes seem bad because you're going so stinking fast. Pretty incredible car. I gotta say, it would be up there with one of my favorites. Okay, so I'm still letting the gap close up a little bit, but not too crazy. Let's see here. Yeah, probably right about there is good. Okay, well, there you go. Insta win. Zoom through this. Let you guys see the last positioning there. Oh, they did increase it. The PR is 100.8. In the original version, it was 96.7 here. Oh, that's interesting. Well, we'll see if that is going to force me to buy upgrades or not. Huh. I didn't know they monkeyed with it. I mean, there's a lot of stuff they don't tell me, of course, which is, makes perfect sense. It's their game. Woo! That was close. So there's a lot of stuff they don't tell me, but wow. Wow, this thing is, you gotta be on the brakes. Like, I've never been on the brakes so early in any other car. Well, when they used to have, I still get asked about supercars. I don't know why everyone wants them back. I think it's just because people who didn't drive them. Worst brakes in the game. They were horrible. And the acceleration wasn't that great. They sounded awesome. Woo, that was driving in a little bit deep. The supercars sounded awesome. And I get it. Like, I have liked watching NASCAR in the past. I haven't been watching it as much in the last couple of years, but so I got a kick out of driving NASCAR because I watched NASCAR. So the low grip, the lower acceleration compared to like a car like this didn't bother me because it's NASCAR. So same with supercars. I get it. If you're a fan of supercars, I'm sure you'd like to drive them again. Basically, the license ran out. Like, every single thing in this game has to be licensed. Every single car, every single track, every single brand. So they can't use Formula One or NASCAR. They can't use those words without a licensing agreement. So just the license expired, and they just had to make it so that new people couldn't get those cars anymore. NASCAR is the same way. So I have all the supercars because I earned them way back when. Ask me how when I last drove them. I can't tell you. I really have no idea because I didn't like driving them. Like, the brakes are just, I don't know what the deal is with those cars, why they have such horrible brakes, but they do. Anyhow, enough about that. All right, I'm taking a cut. I just thought, oh well, I will. I wasn't quite sure. I realized I better be careful. I'm not going to finish this, not going to meet the requirements for this particular race. So I'm just making sure to do all that while also not getting, totally trashed. Little blast under this guy. Oh, that's a Venom. Well, and then I started realizing, okay, now that I passed him, can I just let him pass me back? Sometimes you can do this, sometimes you can't. When you have to get a certain amount of overtakes, sometimes you can give back the overtakes and still pass the stage. So I wasn't quite sure what this particular stage was going to do. Now, I don't want to send him way off track. Oh, you know what? I took a look at my time and I went, oh, yikes, it's go time. I'm going to run out of time. I don't want to do all this over again. So that's why I just dumped the Venom in the corner. And, oh gosh, this is going to be tight. 10 seconds from here? That's going to be tight. Let's see how tight this gets. Oh, nuts. I hate this. I wasn't supposed to make this stressful on myself. Oh my goodness. That's a razor-thin margin, isn't it? Oh, driver level 6. Woohoo! Okay. Yep. That's pretty high PR already. And we've got a head-to-head here, 1 minute and 20 seconds, and another, I think that's a Venom, is it not? It's like a Hennessy Venom. I'm not sure my breaking points, and so Zoe's going to help me with my breaking point, meaning I'm going to use her as another brake. Sorry, Zoe, I blew my breaking point. Hope you don't mind. Now, the downside of what I just did is I'm going to have quite a big lead on her. I'll reel her back in if I've got time. So, got to get on those brakes so stinking early. I can't remember if there's any no off-track races here. Well, that braking point, at least it's better to brake too early than it is to brake too late. You can fix braking too early. You can't fix braking too late. And, well, we'll have a short conversation about assists, because people have been asking about that again, which I understand in an event like this. Brake assist low always brakes too late. Brake assist high always brakes too early and stays on too long. So that's the problem, is both of those aren't helpful. So brake assist low makes you think you need traction control, which you don't. I don't have traction control. And so it kind of has a cumulative effect. I used to leave brake assist low on as a safety net, but the problem is sometimes it brakes when you don't need to brake. Oh boy, we're getting really low on time again. I'm not letting Zoe catch up. There we go. That is easy enough. And that's the end of stage 2. Now let's get on to Mount Panorama. Downloading those assets. I am speeding through certain things. You might have noticed that. Sometimes we're going 4 times regular speed just to go through things quickly. Now this is interesting. Degrading brakes, it's an average speed requirement race. So I'm going to do something weird here. I don't want to finish in first place, which is probably what I'd have to do. So you can't just sit there. Let's go the wrong way for a while, because you got to build average speed. So I want to finish this race in last place or close to it. Oh my, that was a little bit nasty. I'm not looking to get damaged, but we'll see. Whatever happens, happens. That was a little hop. That's kind of funny. So I'm going to take it to the top of the mountain. Well, not the very top. I'll take it to the end of this, and then I'll do a quick little turnaround and head back the other direction. So I want to turn around a little bit carefully. Oh! Well, that wasn't very careful. My windshield didn't crack. You know what? If you have a crash fast enough, there's no consequences. It's hilarious. Okay, I should be hitting average speed here pretty quick. Yes, no, yes, no. Come on. Well, there we go. Okay. Now I'm in the brake kind of late here. All right. Now we're not doing this whole race because this is 3 laps. We're not doing this whole race. That's going to be far too long. I'll show you one good lap so you can kind of see what I'm doing here. And then we're just going to warp ahead. So that, because it's kind of just, it's actually really, really easy. You can get on the brakes quite early or just don't get on the brakes at all. Oh boy, that's kind of sketchy. I'll do a wall ride here. Which if you get it right, you can carry a lot of speed. That was okay. That wasn't great. That's not necessary though. You could brake if you wanted to. You could be braking. It said watch your degrading brakes, but they actually rebuild nicely. Man, this thing's stinking fast. And let's just do some wall braking. Boom! That's a tad bit violent. And we'll do another big wall slide here just for the fun of it. Then very shortly here, we will warp ahead to lap 3. So I made it really obvious. You could see that that was a warp. Sometimes I do really crafty transitions that don't look like a transition at all. But then you don't necessarily know that we've just skipped a bunch. So there you go. Skipped a few minutes of racing for you because there's really nothing to see. Boom! I actually did end up catching up to traffic again, so I went the wrong way again, and it ended up being, like you can see, that was a long race, 5.5 minutes. I didn't want you to have to sit through all that. A lot of this, like this one, 2 minutes, 35 seconds. So as you've noticed, I am breaking the rules. Like, I'm going off track, I'm hitting walls, I'm not doing typical racing. Some people get really mad about that. You know what? If you want to race it differently, go right ahead. You're going to have to spend more money on upgrades. And that's fine. If that's what you want to do, believe me, I'm not being sarcastic. I totally respect that. If you want to do everything in this game by the book, because you like, you know, more of the real racing thing, do that. But this game, I mean, come on, guys. It is a little bit arcadey. I mean, it just made us do 20 seconds of skidding in an event. So, if you want to do, like I can do real racing. I can do time trials. It's not hard for me to be in the top 1,000 in the world. I mean, I've got to work a bit. But it's not hard for me to place in about the top. Like this week, I'm 0.3 of a second out of Group A. It's been a while since I got a Group A. Man, competition got a lot harder out there. But Group A is generally under 300 people. So, like, there's about 250,000, 250 to 300,000 people that take part in a weekly time trial tournament. So I'm usually in the top 0.3%. So why am I'm saying all that to say that my skill level is higher than the average person by quite a lot. So there's nothing wrong with adding upgrades, but yes, I can do real racing if I need to. It's very good to know all the proper braking points everywhere in this game. It's also good to know how to handle a car off track. Off track handling is quite different than on track handling, so it's beneficial. Tilt B controls, like you see I have right here, very necessary for off track driving. With tilt A, the car will dig in and you're forced into a massive skid, and you can't really pull out of it because you're either gas or brakes. And when you're skidding, which is something we learn about in Canada and in countries where you get freezing weather, first thing you want to do when you lose traction is get the vehicle in neutral. So taking your fingers off the gas on this car, it isn't truly neutral, but it does have the same effect. So I can I lift off that gas, I don't apply brakes, I steer into the skid. Once I get back control, I steer back, and then I can apply my brakes. I've got to have control though, because if you don't have control and you've got brakes on, you're just gonna slide until you hit a wall or something else. All right, so this one actually took me a few times because I kept forgetting where the cars were and I was plowing into them. And I am getting low on time, but I'm switching to this view because I want to see the start-finish line. And I just want to cut it close. You know, not stupid close. Okay, this is getting stupid close. I just said I wasn't going to do that, and then I went and did it. Ah. Oh, well. What's that PR at? Oh, it's creeping up again. Wow. Interesting. Well, I'm not going to race on that view at Mount Panorama. Nope, not for me. So with this one, I decided to get creative again. You've got to finish each lap in 1 minute and 20 seconds. Well, that doesn't count the current lap, and I have no idea what position I'm in. I hate that. I hate it when they don't show me what position I'm in. So I decided I'm just going to pull onto pit road here, and I'm going to park it for a bit. And let's see here. We're going to go 16 times regular speed right now. Very fast. Not much going on. I just thought, well, that should be enough of a lead. And again, we're not going to do this whole thing because this is really, really long. It's honestly not all that difficult. Well, well, when you do something like that, it adds to the difficulty. Of course, I just wasted several seconds. But 1 minute, 20 seconds in this car, yeah, not much of a deal here. So I wouldn't recommend doing a wall slide on this first corner. Well, that's not the first corner, but that corner, not a good idea. I guess that's the second corner. Here it can be beneficial, but if you get it wrong, it's not. And I'm just trying to take it easy. This is pretty, I like this section in this car. You only really need to brake a little bit. Like here I was a tiny bit, here a tiny bit. And I thought, you know what? Let's try to slow down properly. Let's try to do this more legit. Woo, woo, oh, we didn't mean to do that. All right. And even try to take this a little bit more legit. I was slowing down too late, so I threw it sideways. Still, it wasn't hard to finish the lap. We're gonna warp ahead to lap 3. I just kept doing the same thing. Not much of a deal. Honestly, I didn't find this very difficult. Now here, I am getting in trouble. I was wasting some time. So again, don't be afraid to use off-track cuts if you want to. If you don't want to, buy more upgrades. I am happy with either one. As long as you're happy with it. And let's not waste time! Woof, that was getting close to 1 minute 20. Driver level 7. Ooh, I'm moving up in the world, baby. Okay, last race of stage 3, or last race at Mount Panorama. And, oh, we're starting in an interesting spot. Okay, oh, that was me. That wasn't the AI, it was me. When I got control, I wasn't driving very smart. 1,500 meters of drafting, and we've got to finish in at least 3rd place. All right. So, what you want to do in this one, you want to get up to 3rd place without passing him. Get your drafting in, and then you just sit pretty in 3rd place. But I'm going to do something a little bit different than that. You'll see what I mean. Just to try to maybe add to the bot management. Because finishing in 3rd place is trophying. So that can increase difficulty. So the other thing, I don't know if we talked about this yet, it depends on how much of a lead you have. So if you win with a huge lead, that will affect bot difficulty more than if you win by a very small lead. So that's the only other thing we can do when we're forced to finish in a position like this, forced to finish in 3rd place. So there's the 3rd place bot. I'm going to have not a lot of time to get my drafting in, but we're not going to talk about it right now, but this is nowhere near 1,500 meters. More about that later. Oh my goodness! I meant to rough him up, but that's a little bit, oh nuts. Well, I better play some catch up because now I'm in trouble. I've got less than 20 seconds to get my drafting in and overtake him. Well, okay. Obviously this is going to work, or else you wouldn't be seeing it, but still, it gets a little bit stressful. Get that drafting in, and then go to the finish line. Oh, wait a second, I don't want to do that. No, let's turn around. Now, you might think this is crazy, but I thought, I just have to finish in 3rd place. There is no one else behind me, so I want to finish as far away from 2nd place as I can. Just, why not? It might help with the bot slowing, it might not. I don't know. Or, sorry, not bot slowing. Bot management. It's not possible the bot slow when you're below recommended PR. The best you can do is bot management. Oh my, that's violent. And with that, our Stage 3 journey at Mount Panorama is over. Time to get on to the next one. Here we are getting on to Stage 4 of End of the Road. I've done a complete reset, in case you didn't know, in case you've been jumping around. Alright, so this is where it's going to start to get a little bit more difficult. We're going to have some more difficult things going on. I thought, let's start going backwards. Let's just be a jerk. It didn't say I couldn't do that. Let everyone go for a while. And yeah, let's just go. This one's, there's just a speed target. So we've just got to hit speed a certain amount of times. It can get a bit challenging sometimes when you're really, like I thought here I was going to try to hit speed. Did I hit speed? Oof, that's way off track. Yep, I did. So, I mean, it's funny because most cars you drive in Real Racing 3 don't even hit that speed. And that's like kind of a low speed for this car, honestly, with how crazy it is. So let's see, can I hit speed on this section? Not sure how far I want to take this. I don't think I got it. No. Now, you can hit speed multiple times in one section. All you have to do is just slow down a little bit after you hit the speed requirement. And then you can speed up again. Oh boy, this is all messy. Obviously, the off-track doesn't matter. Now, here's a definite section to hit the speed run. Let's see, I should be able to do that if I avoid this bot. There we go, yeah. Taillights in this thing are crazy. Okay, and this should be another nice section to hit. You should be able to hit speed here multiple times. So let's see here. Oh yeah, see there you go. You can see I'm slowing down, speeding up, slowing down, speeding up. Hitting speed a few times, trying not to get all damaged because that'll affect things. Hit speed 5 times already. Set up a nice speed run here. Nürburgring is a fun track. I used to really not like this track, but as I got to learn it, I like it more and more. There, I hit speed a few more times, drifted around, and this often comes up, so we'll talk about it. No, you'll never see the full-length Nürburgring in Real Racing 3. It's not possible. The track is far too long. It just cannot be loaded into this game. So, like even well, I'll change that. Now, this is me saying this. Like, I specifically asked the developers about this. They specifically told me, no, that will never be in the game because it's too long. Because if you look at the length, it's basically this. If you take Le Mans and add Spa at the end of Le Mans, that's basically the full-length Nürburgring track. So it's just too much. Some people even have trouble loading Le Mans. Now, is it possible that the best device out there could load it? Maybe. That's me talking. That's not the developers. Maybe the best device could. But there's a problem. There's this fine line they have to walk. People want super high graphics, very realistic. They get angry if it doesn't look like that. So the developers provide that. Then people get all angry because my phone can't load it. Yes, that's because the graphics are really good. So you're not going to be able to load it on your older phone. Sometimes it's just phones that are a few years old. Obviously, we were going very fast there, 16 times regular speed. So they can't make it insane. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, there's a balancing act here. Because it's not like a console. If you buy a console, of course the console can play every single game on that console. But this is a game made for who knows what kind of device will be out next year, right? So there you go. They've got to walk the line. I think they're doing a good job. This is very good for a mobile game. Please do not compare a mobile game to a console game. It's just no comparison. So it's not fair. Apples to apples, you know what I'm saying? The other interesting thing with Real Racing 3 is all the background stuff. Like, all that takes up a lot of... It just takes up memory. Ooh, I'm all over the place. Okay. None of this is still... I don't find this overly difficult yet. So, being careful with this Valkyrie. Trying to plan... I'll do an outside overtake. Ooh, almost got hooked up on that wall. That's a wall that if you can get stuck in, which is not a lot of fun. This particular one... I was talking about this earlier. So here I've got to pass 5 cars, lap 5 cars. If you then let cars overtake you, you will fail. Now, if you let a lapped car overtake you, I believe you're fine. But if you let a positioned car overtake you, you're not. So, like, right now I'm in 2nd place. Like, obviously, it's going to force me to win this race. And I was hoping to not finish in 2nd place. But you don't get that option in this race. So, you can let the lapped cars unlap themselves. But you got to be very careful because at that point, there's going to be other cars in the mix. Now, why am I doing that? I was a little bit nervous that maybe I was driving this all properly and I'm not going to finish this. Because I just couldn't remember how hard this is. It's been a while since I did this. So, woo, boy. Almost clipped the barrier. Reach. Okay. Well, that was my first car that I lapped. Now I got to get 4 more in this lap. So hopefully I can do that. Should be able to. That a Vulcan? Looks like an Aston Martin Vulcan. I love some of these cars. That car, I still remember earning that car during a gauntlet event. Some of us loved the gauntlets. A lot of people hated the gauntlet events. They were so hard. And they've told me they'll never bring back the gauntlets, but certain types of things from the gauntlets will return. What I mean is, in the Wyra Royale event, there were several races where you had multiple things you had to do in one race, and it got quite tricky. That's very gauntlet style, where there'd be like 2 or 3 or 4 different things happening that you'd have to do, you'd have to watch for. But I still remember a race at Porsche Short Track, Porsche Test Track Short version, in the Aston Martin Vulcan, and it was no touching anything at all. Like no touching a barrier, no touching a car, no off track, and you had to finish in a certain amount of time, and you had to win, and it was just brutal. So I'm kind of, with this guy, I'm trying to decide if I want to let him pass me back to unlap himself. Because I'm just not sure if that's going to make me fail or not. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. Oh, I better get going now because those are actual positioned cars. You've got to stay in first place, I think. Yes. So you can let cars unlap themselves, but no, you cannot let yourself fall back in positions. Okay. This is where I think it starts to get a little more tricky. Oh, yes and no. So here's what I was talking about, how they started to get crafty. It's an average speed race, but obviously I can't go backwards because I've got a fuel problem. So fuel's never a problem in this race. As long as you stay going forwards, don't worry about the fuel. Drive it as hard as you want to. So minimum, keeping your average speed up, as long as you just keep going. Like, keep going pretty fast. I mean, I'm getting a little bit off track here. And there's just not much you can do about it. You just gotta go, go, go. You build that average speed pretty quickly. Like that's pretty crazy. You can see here you can't get damaged. So if you're doing big cuts like that, you gotta be really careful. Whoa! It gets a little bit tricky, but you never need to stress about that fuel. Fuel's never a problem. And there we go. Drift this corner. I love drifting that corner. That's a lot of fun. You have that little drop from the one track level to the other. Oh, the green section there seemed like it wasn't right here's a funny spot. Right way over there, that's not off track. I mean, once I get back on the grass, it is, but that wasn't. So here I'm trying to keep it a little bit more on track, not taking major off-track things like you guys have seen me do in the past. It's funny how early you got to get on the brakes in this thing. If you don't get early enough. With this car, if you throw it sideways, it actually slows down pretty quick. All-wheel drive cars, four-wheel drive cars are that way in this game. It's kind of interesting that way. Now, hitting average speed just fine. Oopsie. Okay, we're going to warp ahead here because, honestly, this is not a difficult race. If it is difficult for you, do some of the cuts you see me doing. And you can see I've got no problem with average speed. I still got a decent amount of fuel. And I'm actually not going to bother passing these guys. Because my average speed should be okay, I think. I hope. Oh, yeah, it's fine. There we go. No problem at all. Like I said, that's why I just skipped through a whole lap, because it's just not necessary to see it. And here we've got the last race of stage 4. And, okay, so now we'll talk about it. 13,716 meters. What a strange number. Pick someone who's similar to you to do your slipstreaming, drafting off of. So here's a Bugatti. And his braking is a little bit similar to ours. If you try drafting off of like the Valkyrie or whatever, there's an Aston Martin Valkyrie up in front, up ahead of like the position 6.5. He brakes differently, so it's hard to stay hooked up longer. There's also another Bugatti quite a ways up, but there's no reason to win. Now, I did that really quickly because you can't get damaged. And I was on the brakes a bit late, and I did not want to plow into him. So, okay, let's talk about this. What are we looking at, guys? You're right. These aren't meters. These are Roman cubits. Don't know why, they just are. For every meter you travel, you're getting credit of 2.25 meters. That's why it goes by so fast. Because it's not meters, it's not yards, it's Roman cubits. Which, yes, there's actually, cubit was an ancient unit of measure. Originally, it was based on the length of a man's forearm. And so, of course, depending on what culture you came from, the measurement of a cubit would vary from culture to culture. So, let's see if I can get this right. 44.444 centimeters, 17.48 inches. Really close to that. About 17.5 inches. So anyway, they have no idea why this happened in the game. I mean, obviously they weren't loading Roman cubits. I mean, who uses that? It's just what happened. They can never undo it, or it would wreck every flashback event. We actually had an interesting race at Daytona once in a NASCAR event where the drafting requirement was actually more than the distance that we had to travel. So it was really funny. It was a little bit tricky. You had to stay hooked up almost the whole time, but it wasn't too hard because it was NASCARs racing against NASCARs. So similar braking, similar acceleration. And here we go. Already I'm getting close to my total amount needed. Engine temperature, never a problem in this race. Nothing to worry about. This is a little bit of an older event. This was when events started to get really easy for a while. And I don't really know why. I guess it's just whoever was creating them. They were really easy. Oh, another Bugatti. Huh. Well, isn't that interesting? So they were really easy for a bit. Like there was several where you could win with no upgrades at all. And I've noticed they started making them a little more difficult again. And I actually like that. This does get difficult right at the end with no upgrades. It does get tricky right at the end there. But for the most part, this is not difficult at all. I thought for fun I'd maybe catch up with this guy, see what he's all about. I think that might be a Chiron, but I could be wrong. Sometimes it's hard for me to tell them all apart. We've got quite a lot of Bugattis, really. It's kind of funny because Bugattis, I mean, some of these Some of these, there is only like one of them in the world. Like the, oh, which one is it? La Voiture Noire. I did horrible. I usually practice before I would say something like that. Anyways, there's only one of those. I think with the Devos, I believe there's 40 Devos in the world. Maybe this is a Devo in front of me. I don't remember. So it's funny when I was doing an endless endurance video and you pass more than 40 Devos. It's like, well, I guess they're recycling them. Anyway. Okay, obviously, like I said, this is really easy. Let this guy catch up. I'm not going to play a lot. Like finishing in 7th or 8th, really not much of a difference here. We'll wait for a little bit. Again, really fast. There we go. I sped up the footage for you. I don't want to make you sit there and watch me in a parked car. That's kind of ridiculous. All right. That's it for Stage 4. There's your rewards. On to Stage 5, where it actually does get difficult. Okay, I just had a conversation about this with someone that was basically convinced this wasn't true. I'm about to show you it is true. Here's the difference between tailgating and drafting. Okay, so I smack Ahmed off track and he gets stuck. I position myself and look, I am getting tailgating even though we're not moving. This has just happened. I just did this. Here's more and a little bit more, and then I drive off. And unfortunately, I did something really stupid. And that is, I didn't let my tires warm up enough before I passed the lap line. So I lost all that and I had to do it again. So now you're going to see me do it a different way because I could not repeat that. It's not easy. I'm still roughing him up a lot because I want him behind everyone else. It just makes it easier to get your tailgating in because finishing a lap here in a minute is actually very doable. Where do you go? Is he still behind me? Oh, he's right behind me. Come on, pass me. Oh, come on. This is horrible. Anyway, 120 seconds of tailgating is very difficult here if he's in the lead. So you don't want him in the lead. You want him last. And then you can rough him up all you want. But just be careful if you're roughing him up because this can happen where you get tangled up. So you got to make sure you're staying with him. And obviously damage does not matter because I am smashing his bumper so bad. But I'm going to do this one legit. Well, legit. What am I saying, legit? You've got to smash him up a little bit to do it. Where'd he go? There he is. I had to do this one quite a lot because I just kept on losing track of Ahmed. And it's like, oh no, I've got to do the race again because I lost Ahmed. Like, here we go. I've lost Ahmed. Where'd he go? Come on. There he is. Okay, come on. Get up there. So look, he's beside me. I'm logging tailgating. I'm not drafting. So people confuse that sometimes. In fact, I've got a whole video about that. We will put that up in the top right-hand corner right now. You can check out that video to really see the difference. Well, so this is excessively violent. Of course, I would be banned forever. People would be dead. But, oh well. You gotta do what you gotta do. Now, I made that. I dragged that lap out to 1 minute and 30 seconds. But if I hadn't done all this, there's no way it would have been anywhere near that. Oh my. Boom. Look at this. Okay, now that he's turned around, I'm not. You gotta control him, okay? But look, as soon as he gets beside me. So as long as my front bumper is behind his front bumper, you get tailgating. Now here I'm too far back. So sometimes people think it's drafting because they just got too far back. Oh my, come on, whoa. Gotta stay hooked up here. Still got another 40 seconds to go. Which, if he gets away from me very much, that won't happen. So that's why I keep roughing him up a little bit, but I'm not trying to go too crazy here. I was still hoping to get him pinned, but he's funny. I really do like that car. That's a really nice car to drive. It's just got amazing handling. We're getting close. Couldn't set that up. Was trying. Oh, I spun him in the right onto the track again. It's not easy to set those things up. It's easier at Nürburgring at corner 1. That's where I've controlled it quite often. Here, we're almost done, so I'm not going to bother doing too crazy. I just want to get my... Oops. I actually didn't mean to do that. They take that bus stop so stupid. Come on, man. So the trouble, what made this really hard for people is if you use assists, this track is quite punishing if you use assists because that section I was just in called the bus stop. The steering assist there, it'll make you take 4 turns. And you shouldn't take 4 turns there. So, yeah, that's the problem with it. I've been racing with no assists for a long time. But just double checking what I was supposed to do here. Okay. My first 18 months playing this game, I was an all-assist driver. And it was difficult for me to transition out of that. So that was like I used steering assist high, brake assist low, traction control on, and tilt A. So I had to do all those transitions. I'm so glad I did. The game got so much more enjoyable for me when I did that. Obviously, off track is not mattering here. Or wait a second. I mean, I did use a little bit. Oh, no, here it doesn't matter. So I'm driving kamikaze crazy here. Well, not kamikaze, because I need to actually finish. I don't want to get damaged, because that just makes me slower. But I'm driving very aggressively, because we've got to pass 5 and... Oh, sorry, pass 8 and then hit that certain speed target. That speed target's difficult. That's what I found. It's actually... You really got to go. So here I'm driving in very deep. Boom! That was a perfect wall bounce. Right back onto the track. When you get it that good, it's better than braking, but you don't always get it that good. Here I tried to do it nicely. There we go, nice clean one. Got to hit my speed target one more time. Do another off-track cut here, set up a speed run. Or can I actually hit that here? We'll go flying off-track and see. I don't think I did. Did I? No. Huh. Okay, well, easy to hit it here, that's for sure. At this next section, the start-finish straight. A little bit wagging around there. Sometimes you can see I keep the throttle pinned. Sometimes I'm lifting and braking and feathering. Okay, on the brakes here. And then I should be able to hit it in this section. Now I still haven't... Oh, then I've done everything I'm supposed to do. So then we'll just hit that speed target one more time. And then I've got to figure out what I want to try to do as far as how I'm going to finish this particular race. So we're speeding up a little bit here because I decided I'd go back, let some guys catch up. And not really sure how much I want to mess with this. Because I already gave back some overtakes. Oopsie. So I'm gonna risk it. We'll see what happens if I give back some more positions. We're not going to do the final lap. We're gonna warp ahead here in a while. Just because at this point, obviously you can see this is easy. Obviously it's not a difficult thing to do. I keep debating where I want to finish. So right now I'm in 4th, 5th, 6th again. Maybe I'll leave it in 6th. I don't know. Anyhow, after we round this last corner, so this is the last chicane here. After I round this corner, we're going to warp ahead to lap 3. And then you can see where I actually decided to finish. I'm in 7th right now. And I decided I would finish in 8th. And that was just fine. Green banner, 8th is good enough. That'll keep things reasonable. Now, here's where we start to get to the hard races. The 2 hard races are race 3 and race 4 of stage 5. Those are difficult races. So there we got 2 minutes and 20 seconds, and you've got to finish in 2nd place. I'm testing the off track. That's a lot of off track. So I'm going to spend that right away here. So I'm going to go through the bus stop very quickly. Again, this corner coming up here, this is a bus stop. So a bus stop has a section that is parallel to the track you're on. That's the bus stop. I'm going to full throttle it right through here, cut this. That's a lot of off track I'm spending. I probably have at least another half second, but like enough that I could do a wall bounce. I'm going to be careful. The funny thing about this is that you catch up with Ahmed and you just barely get across the start-finish line in time. You almost have to give him a little bit of a push. It's really interesting. You definitely don't want to mess him up. So I don't want to do a wall bounce because I don't know if I have enough off track, and I can't take the damage. You do not want to get damaged here. So all I'm left with is if I blow my braking point, I've got to drift it a little bit and be careful. I do not think I can afford to take an off-track cut here, but pay attention. This, what I do right here, this is not off track. I meant to actually take that a little bit tighter. There's pylons on this track. The pylons are what let you know where off track actually is. So those pylons right there, those blue pylons, that's what matters. Okay, so already, okay, he's in his Koenigsegg. Get out of my way. Oh, little tap there, but I'm okay. Not sure my braking point here, but I'm going to brake it, take it kind of deep. Not too deep. I want to be on the throttle early. Wagged it around a little bit there. I should be good, but the problem is catching up to Ahmed. So again, you don't want to mess him up because that's just going to slow him down. You can't win this race. You must finish in 2nd. That was really blowing corner. You must finish in second. So I want to catch up to him, give him a little bit of a push, but then back off before I get him to a corner, or he's just going to slow down more, which is weird. But they do that because of the traction control, I guess. But now here's a better time. There we go. You can see I was still on the left side of the pylon. None of that was off track. So that this track really, you really got to know where it says limits are and aren't. Okay, so here's what I'm talking about. 14 seconds to go and he's just, come on, man. But I'm trying not to hit him. Not much. Now here I'm going to get hooked up. I'm going to push him hard now. Because here he won't hit the brakes. So I want to cross that start-finish line. That wasn't bad. Level 9. Yay, driver level 9. Okay, this race, arguably, this is the hardest race. I found that again this time. This was the hardest race for me. Took me, I would say this is my 4th try. I definitely want to get by Ahmed as fast as possible just because our cars are very different. So I like to take him here. And then that's about it. I'm going to take this really carefully. On the other hand, he's right on my bumper. I'm going to do a wall bounce. You can get away with some, like they are damaging. Oof. You are off track for a bit. That might not have been the best idea, but I made it work. Okay. And, oh, drift this one. Ay, 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 ay. Well, both those corners weren't great, so this is going to get very, very, very close. Oh, boy, I was surprised I got away with that. I just felt like I wasn't going to have enough, and so either, oh my gosh, this is sloppy. Sloppy jalopy. 10 seconds. Is this even possible? Well, we're going to be down to this milliseconds, I think. 3, 2, 1. Not too bad. All right. Last race is just a free-for-all. There's no, doesn't matter what you do to get this done. The faster you get it done, the quicker it ends. So it doesn't matter. Go off track as much as you want. Get as damaged as you want to. Smash everyone to smithereens. You have to pass everyone and lap everyone, and that's it. So you just do whatever you want to do to get that done. So what is left to discuss? Well, I didn't discuss assists very much. Again, this track is very punishing if you use assists. And it's not that they've done anything intentional. It's just the way it works. So the bus stop sections, we'll talk about the bus stop. It's coming up here right away. So we go into this arching right-hand corner. And then here's the bus stop. So watch what I do. Well, okay, that's a bad example. That's a massive cut. I basically do just one right-hand turn. Like I don't really do much of a left. I just straighten out my steering. I don't really turn left. So I just turn it into right, go straight, right, go straight. But the computer, the AI, wants you to make a left and a right, and then a right and a left. And it slows down a lot to do it. So that's why whenever there's a bus stop section in the game, and you use assist, steering assist, it's really going to hurt you there. And same with the brakes. The braking is going to be pretty bad there. And there's not a lot of bus stops in the game, but the computer has, the AI has a lot of trouble with them. So this is a very famous bus stop. So Porsche short track and long track. And then Daytona road course and motorcycle course. Those are the most famous traditional bus stops we have in this game. Lime Rock Park kind of has a bus stop in the one variant, the bus stop right near the bridge. It is a bus stop shape, but it's a little bit different. It is interesting. It's actually a very interesting corner there. So steering assist low won't affect that very much. Steering assist high definitely will. In fact, steering assist high will wreck you in certain parts of this game. Circuit of the Americas, or COTA. Steering assist high will cause you a lot of trouble in the really sharp turns. Like there's a few turns at COTA that are like, I don't know, 165 degrees. Like they're not even hairpins. A hairpin means that there's a curve. It's like a sharp point. And I noticed that if you run steering assist high without traction or brakes, it will actually make you slide out. So then people think, oh, well, I just need to put on traction control. Well, no, you're missing the point. You're giving up speed. Now, I understand. Not everyone can learn no-assist racing. Ooh, boy, I did that on purpose, actually. Because that's Ahmed, so I want him slowed down for when I get around here the second time. But just so you know, guys, I work full-time. I've got a full-time job. I've got a family life and all that stuff. And I did it. I did learn. Now, this is my one big hobby, is playing this game. It's definitely my one big hobby. I also like music. play a few different types of guitars. Used to play electric guitar. I don't really do that anymore. I had one. I recently got rid of it because I just wasn't playing it. So acoustic guitar, regular guitars just got difficult for my ears. I like bass guitars, so I've got a 6-string bass guitar. If you want to get a little bit more technical with it, it's a Dingwall combustion. And so some people out there might know what a Dingwall bass guitar is. But it is quite the bass guitar. Yes, I like a 6-string bass. It's a monstrously thick neck. And I have a classical guitar I like as well. The neck's probably about as thick, at least on the low end. And the point is, these are where I put my time. So no assist racing, you take it a little bit at a time. Eventually, like, it's really daunting at first. I've got a whole video on that. I'll throw it up here at the end. You take a little bit at a time. Focus on just one track at a time. Try to dial in one track, and then start working on your next track. So what I mean is, and don't necessarily go no assist right away. You can take off some at a time. Again, I talk about that in the video, so I'll leave that for the video. I illustrated at Brands Hatch because that's such a short track, easy to illustrate it. In fact, that's a great place to start because it's a short track, not a lot of corners to learn. But it's a track where no assists are advantageous because there's a corner that the game will often force you to brake at that you don't need to. There's a lot of areas like that in the game. At Hockenheim Ring, full-length circuit, I think there's 3 corners that the game will brake for that you don't need to brake for. So you're giving up speed. Or legendary Eau Rouge Radeon section at Spa. In most cars you have to brake there, but there are cars you don't. Well, the AI will. So if you run assists, again, you're slowing down. That's why I started learning no assists. What I was doing was I was racing the 10-lap Le Mans race, and I would turn off all the assists so I could take a cut just to save time, because I was just trying to farm as fast as possible. And then I'd pause the game and put them back on again. And I realized whatever time I'm saving, I'm giving back and more. I might as well just learn this no assist thing. And I did. And it was tricky. And I learned things by learning that. So I have more tips than I had when I started, because I remember what it's like. So like steering assist settings, steering sensitivity settings are very critical as you learn no assist racing. I used to run steering sensitivity 10. Right now in this car I'm running steering sensitivity 2, and that's it. A dramatic smash to end this video series. Let's get on to my upgrades. Oh, wait a second. I didn't buy any. You can see right here, no upgrades at all. But I did earn 500,000 R dollars and 100 gold, plus a car worth 1,150 gold. Please like, please subscribe. Thank you so much for joining me today. See you next time.